Well, I think the more experience you can have, the better. It's whilst everyone can drive, it takes practice to be able to
more
be
practice
good at it.
before getting on the road.
Yeah.
And an identifiable amount of
I hadn't
practice.
done very many road hours at all, and I remember being really unconfident driving and just feeling so unsafe every time I went for a drive.
Yeah.
And I think even by the time I'd done 120 hours, I probably still didn't feel confident, but I just know that it was all about time and experience on the road. That's what really made me feel confident.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess the thing is, when I got my experience up, I had to do all of that on my own.
Yeah.
And I was definitely not safe.
I guess it gives you
didn't
more
feel safe.
practice, more opportunity to make sure that you know what you're doing before you actually have to go out and do it by yourself. You've still got someone there that's quite experienced that will be able to guide you if you need any assistance, that kind of thing. It's just building up
I
your
reckon
experience.
yes, as long as those 120 hours are in all conditions, and it's not really the amount of practice that's good practice. If you're using 120 hours and not concentrating properly, you're probably not going to come out a better.
I think
better
it
driver.
does, because you get practice in different situations. You're forced to adapt your own driving to those different situations. So, you get experience driving in traffic jams and on country roads and really late at night in really diverse conditions too. So I think it does improve driving. And I think too, it stops people from just going for their learners as soon as they've gotten their permit. So, they've obviously had some experience on the roads before they've taken the car out, sort of thing. So, yeah.
I think it must make a difference because people are more experienced when they get behind a wheel, so it has to translate to less road.
Yes, I do. The answer that I gave you before related to all of the other things that impact on the road toll. So is it the only thing? No, I don't believe that it is. The other sorts of things that I mentioned before, advertising relating to alcohol, drugs, so targeting those sorts of things, targeting about sleep. Looking at a whole range of different things to help people be aware of the road toll and how high it is, and we can see across Australia it's come down
it's coming
significantly.
I don't know for sure, and I'd be really interested to see what your results for all your other data gathering are. I've had some experience teaching people to drive. So in the job I had before I worked at this school, I used to do a little bit of mentor driving with some students who didn't have a parent or a guardian to drive with. And maybe for 6 kids, I would have done not their entire 120 hours, but like a good slab of their hours, and you could just tell the difference. You could get any kid who had done 100 hours and barely have to say anything compared to a kid who'd done 20, and you'd be on the edge of your seat every second. You could just tell. And that's why I think that it makes
I don't know any of the stats, but I feel like people say that it has. I think it would make a difference because it does mean that you are being more experienced, more practiced, more informed, hopefully, driver that will be less likely to have an accident. So hopefully it has made a difference. I'm not sure.
Without the statistics in front of me, it's very hard to say, but I think the road toll has been declining somewhat. But again, without the statistics in front of me, it's a bit difficult to say. You would say that 120 hours probably should make better drivers, but as I said, it's all got to depend on whether you're practicing properly or not.
I think it's made an improvement to the specific age group that it applies to. I don't think it's made an improvement as a whole, because I think drivers see learners on the road and they freak out and they start to get really impatient, and I think that causes accidents in other areas on the road. But I think definitely if you were to look at the statistics for the age group that would be affected the most by the 120 hours, so you're 16 through to your 24 kind of age group, I think there's definitely evidence there to suggest that it's affected it positively, because the kids have more of that experience and they're more responsible going into their P plates, as opposed to having that that restriction on them in the first place. So, yeah.
I ran up the back of a car, just not very, it wasn't a bad accident, but I smashed the tail light of the car in front of me, not concentrating.
I was out with some mates. We were all work colleagues, and I was young, I was 17, and we were out driving in the middle of, well, it wasn't in the bush, but it was outside of town, and we were on a gravel road, and so we had 5 of us in the car, 2 in the front, 3 in the back, and I happened to hit a gravel corner a little bit too hard, effectively on 2 wheels, and the front tyre blew. Yeah. So, and that might have been why it actually lifted and was skipping on 2 wheels, because it might have been one of the rocks in the road that blew the tyre off. So
my very first accident was actually on my first drive. Yeah. So I got my Ps, which was probably a miracle, but you didn't have to do much. I had to be able to do a reverse park, and a little bit of a drive around, and I got my licence. But I got in the car, and it was an old 82 Hilux, 4 on the tree. Yeah. It only went about 80, that was its top speed. But I went for a drive around the block, and I was basically just laughing the whole time at how awesome it was to be on the road and free and all on my own. And I got on a dirt road, and I thought, oh sweet, we'll do some sweet drifties down the road, that'll be awesome. And I ended up just skidding straight off the side of the road, and I ploughed this Hilux into a really deep gutter. Yeah. So on a sort of farmy,
I have an accident my first year of driving. Haven't had an accident to this point, touch wood. So had to only log 50. That was a bit different in New South Wales. So
my first year, I did not have an accident that I can remember. No, definitely, or maybe, no, definitely did not have an accident that I'll admit on in camera.
So I was backing out of my driveway, and there was a pizza guy's car parked in front of my driveway, and I thought I had enough room to back out because it was across the road, but no, I didn't. And the back of my car hit his car. Not at any speed or anything like that. It was enough to dent, but not anything major. There was no injuries or anything. I was just a bit of a wreck in terms of, oh my God, it's my first car accident, oh no. Yeah. And it was mum and dad's car too, so that was worse. So, I don't think that was a result of me not, it was a result of me not paying attention, probably not. Because I haven't had enough experience before I got in the car, so.